Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am very excited to be introducing my project that I did of Natasha's harness from the new Black Widow movie that she wears with the black suit. This is in partnership with OLFA, who was generous enough to provide me with some cutting tools to use for this project, and if you watch until the end of the video, I can tell you how you can win some of your own. So in this tutorial I will go over how I went through this in more detail, but I wanted to get a bit of an overview before we start and say that this is mostly made of 2mm foam. The back is just a scrap of thermoplastic. You can use OLFA. You could probably use, like, if you have a plastic bin that's just going to go out in the trash, you could cut it from that. This is just a placeholder for the backpack, and then you can glue or Velcro the backpack piece onto this so that it's removable if you like, because the backpack is used with both the white and black outfit, but they have different harnesses. So I wanted those to be interchangeable. I didn't think ahead of time, but I wanted to do a layer of canvas on the back side of my foam to give it a little bit of extra strength, which you can see here. If I had realized ahead of time, I would have preferred to sew the strip of canvas to the back layer, the base layer of foam, before I glued on all these detail foam pieces, because I just sew whenever possible. I think it is, the most reliable form of adhesion for pretty much anything. But because I didn't think of it ahead of time and I'd already glued on these pieces, I used Fabri-Tac, which is a fabric glue, to adhere it to the back side of these straps. And then all along the edges I switched to E6000 because E6000 is the best glue and I wanted the edges to be really secure. A little extra detail that I did is I 3D modeled the clasp that is a detail on this harness piece. And so then I printed those with my 3D printer and I put them in to look even more accurate to the movie. In the back there's some elastic, and that's so that it's more comfortable to wear. You always want to have elastic with strappings and things. The thigh holsters, all those, is much more comfortable when you have elastic. Plus, this is actually accurate to the movie. In the movie she has a grosgrain elastic to secure the bottom portion of the strap. The entire harness closes with Velcro, which I have one strip on the back of this clasp and the other strip on the back of the front flap. So then I put it on and I Velcro it, and that's it. It's very easy to put on. Let me actually show you guys. So I don't have the backpack on yet, but that's okay. And there it is. And if you don't have the backpack yet, I mean, your piece of thermoplastic is really not a bad placeholder. So that can kind of stand in for a backpack until you get one, make one, what have you. And this is the final piece for the suit. So go ahead and watch my tutorial, let me know what you think, and complete the steps at the end of the video to enter to win your own OLFA products to make a harness like this. Of course, you'll need your 2mm foam. For this project, we will do 2 layers of 2mm foam for a total of 4mm thick for the entire harness. You want to mark out your pieces first. I find it better to mark it then cut instead of just cut right around my pattern. And then take your OLFA products and cut those out nice and smooth. Because there are so many little pieces and you have double the pieces for each side,
It is very helpful if you label all of your pieces right and left, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And for these pieces, it's very helpful to have your marks there so that you can align the pieces together on the base of the harness. Now for all pieces, you're going to want to round off those cut edges so that it's a smooth, subtle, rounded edge instead of the sharp, straight cut that you just made. Using a sanding bit on your Dremel or your rotary tool, go around every single cut edge of your foam pieces. Now it's time for contact cement, and I know this is often the messiest part of a build, and everyone has their own technique to try and make it less messy to use this glue. And you can see that I am putting down a little bit of the glue with the brush that comes with the bottle, and then I use a plastic knife and I can spread it pretty thin and evenly so you don't end up with a bunch of big droplets of it on your piece and then other places not enough. Make sure to spread it to every edge so that every corner of your foam will be secured. Of course, you'll need to do this with every single piece of foam that you will be gluing together. After letting your contact cement dry a little bit, some people wait 5 minutes, I wait 20, you can stick them together in the order marked on my free pattern. Make sure to check out the link in my bio below to get your pattern. This is when I started getting excited as I put all these smaller pieces together because it really started to look like the piece that I was recreating. Here you can see how rounding off the cut edges where the pieces fit together really helps to create the look of the harness in the movie. And here's where I'm gluing the fabric to the back of the harness. Like I said before, if I'd thought ahead, I would have stitched this by machine onto the base layer of the harness, and then glued all the little pieces on top so that the stitching is hidden. But because I didn't do that, I used fabric glue and some E6000 to stick it onto the back of my harness. Be sure to really press down the glue into the foam, and then you will want to leave it to dry overnight. I think I left mine about 24 hours until the next evening. For the front strap, I actually did have a chance to sew it on the back before gluing the front foam piece. So here you have an example of me doing that, where I'm just stitching around all 4 corners with a pretty long stitch. It doesn't have to be a small one, just to secure it to the back of that foam. I also took this opportunity to machine stitch the Velcro to the back side of this foam piece so that when I'm taking it on and off, I'm not worried that the Velcro will come off. Now this is the foam piece that will cover all of that up, and I'm using my OLFA beginner knife to score in those line details that are on the harness. I found that this item was really perfect for scoring 2mm foam or anything thicker even, because you don't have the risk of cutting all the way through your foam that you might with a regular craft knife. Because this knife is meant for safety and for beginners, it has a bit of a guard, so it really prevents you from cutting too deeply into your foam. And your last bit of machine sewing will be to secure the elastic to the underarm portion of the harness before you glue on that piece of foam that goes on top. The OLFA utility knife is the best option for cutting through thermoplastics. This is a type of thermoplastic that I had on hand. You can use Warbler, you can use scrap plastic because we will be painting this. And the utility knife is so heavy duty that I can really cut all the way through it. And the last step is to use a heat gun to heat seal all of your foam. Heat sealing will also bring up any of the score marks that you made and make them look deeper and crisper. I really love this part of any foam build. It really feels like magic when the heat brings out those lines. Now it's time to really finish these pieces. I did a quick layer or two of black spray paint for the back piece of thermoplastic. And then I went over all my foam pieces with a few layers of Plastidip. I didn't do any paint after this because the Plastidip was the perfect color and texture that I wanted for this harness. And finally, we're at the end. Here are my little 3D printed fake hinges that I painted, and I'm going to hand stitch them to the back of the Velcro pieces. This is something else that I would have loved to do ahead of time before gluing on the detail foam pieces, but I'm not quite sure how I would have because these are different color paint than the foam is, so I'm not sure how I could have done it as cleanly if I'd sewn this before. I'm not gonna lie, doing this sewing with the curved needle was a huge pain in the butt, and you have to do it 4 times since there's 2 sides and 2 hinges. So finally, this last piece was a lot easier because it's this flap of Velcro that goes behind the center front strap. So you won't see any of the stitching, so I just was able to sew right through it. And the final bit of sewing here is stitching the shoulder straps and the elastic straps that go under the arm to the backpack piece. I once again poked holes in my thermoplastic, and I'm just sewing right through both the foam piece and the Warbler piece where the hole is marked to secure those. And here is the finished harness. I tried it on with my endgame suit because I don't yet have the one from the movie, but I'm so pleased with how it turned out, and I think it looks really faithful to the one in the film. My patterns for both the harness and the 3D printed hinges are available for free, so check out my bio below.
And that is it. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial to make Natasha's harness from the new Black Widow movie. And now the part that everyone is waiting for, how can you win your own OLFA products to make this? I will also put the steps down below in the description, but you will want to go ahead, go to my Instagram, which I will link, follow me, follow OLFA, which I will also link. You will want to leave a comment down below on my post, tag some friends, let me know what you loved about the Black Widow movie. And for extra entry, you can also share it to your stories. At the end of the giveaway time, I will choose a winner randomly, and then you can win a selection of OLFA products, which honestly are some of the best out there for working with foam, for working with fabric, for working with thermoplastic. They have really strong, reliable blades, which is very important so that you don't hurt yourself actually. And one of the ones that turned out to be my favorite is the safety knife, the beginner knife, because it is the perfect depth to score 2mm foam without going all the way through. So that's something that I always struggled with, is accidentally cutting through my foam, and that knife is just perfect, which was a happy accident that I found out. So you're going to want to go ahead and enter my giveaway on my Instagram, and may the odds be ever in your favor. If you found this tutorial helpful, please give it a like, follow, go find me on Instagram where I post even more how-tos and give more insight into how I make my costumes. Thanks for watching!